Hello, this is Vintage Shabby Goodness, and my name is Patty. Thank you for joining me today. I have brought to you another journal, another large journal that is varied width, but the height of it is 11 inches at the biggest point. This file or the digital that I'm using is from a lady called Crazy Watercolor, and I found her on Etsy, and her digitals are just gorgeous. I just fell in love with them. So I thought I would show this journal that I just completed, and that way you can see what I see. I do have two different kits here. There's a pink one and there's a purple. This pink one I think is just called Shabby Journal pages, and the purple one is I think just purple ephemera, Victorian ephemera, something like that. I'm not sure, but I just thought I would share with you my find. Okay, this is the first part of it, is this smaller sheet here, the pink digital. This lady here I printed on vellum and put her on here, added a little piece of lace, a bow, and a flower. Just very easy. And then down here is a little piece of trim also. And then I stenciled on the back. Then the second, purple, I cut out the flowers and made a pocket. And I've got a paper clip here to hold the tag in because it's kind of floppy and it kept falling out, and I wanted it to stay in place. But I also put this piece back here. This is glued down to the page. It's just a piece that, you know, just to show interest, the purple and the pink, and I think it looks really nice together. And then this purple applique that I had in my stash. And let's see, this side is this beautiful lady. I think she's just as sweet looking as can be. And this digital here, I just glued it on, and of course it was too long, so I just folded it over a couple of times to get a nice sturdy tuck spot, and I added the pink trim. And here, this is a glassine bag that I glued down the lace to tie the bag down with so it would stay in place. I like to tie the bow to where it shows, if at all possible, so that's why it's tied off to the side. But this is the glassine with the pink digital twine. I made a bow, added a flower, another bow, and some trim. And I just wrapped it around the glassine bag. Added this page here, the Eiffel Tower. I stenciled on the back of this. And then you can go inside here, and you've got a couple of tags and a little piece of ephemera. You know, you can cut it up some more and add it to one of the tags or both of them, whatever you want to do. In case I forgot to put a tag somewhere in these pockets, I tend to put a lot of pockets and then forget where they're all at, and so I thought I'd just add a couple just in case you find one. If not, then maybe you can use it somewhere else. And then there's the page there. And here I added a big piece of lace. It's really wide, and I just glued it all down, and I glued it over this pocket. I had already put the pocket down and glued it over onto the pocket, and then I cut a slit see this. I cut a slit so I would be able to add this tag in there. But I thought that looked kind of cool. I like the way it turned out. Then on this side, it's a partial page here. I added a little tag here. And I didn't know that gray would look so good, you know, in this kit, but it does. A friend of mine, Nicola, she suggested that I try a gray or silver or something like that in this. She thought it would look really nice, and I agreed. Thank you, Nicola, for your advice. I just like the way the digital shows right through that lace. And then here I just added an applique on this to make a tuck spot. A little tag here. And then I just added some pink beads along the edge here. And then over here, which I think this is probably my favorite. I just love the way this tag turned out. I had this little piece of pearl necklace, or I'm not sure what it was, but it's very old. And I had cut pieces of it off, and I think this was my last piece. But I added this flower here along the edge. I thought it went pretty well, and added a pink bow with a pearl there. I added a large piece of lace here on the front, and it just turned out so nice. Then you can journal on the back. And then the pocket here is a corner tuck up here at the top that I thought just went so well with this tag here. And I had this little piece of trim left over. It's vintage. And I put it down here at the bottom, and it just all clicked. I think it just looks very pretty. And then I added this pink trim here. This is my very, very favorite from Lavish Laces. And so I've been hoarding this. I don't know if she was ever able to get any more back in, but she hunted and hunted for me and was able to come up with some of this. And so I just been hanging on to it. I let go for a little bit, you know, to add into this journal. So then I made this cluster and just dangled it from that lace. Added this ribbon here with the pretty pink flowers. This purple digital. I added a great big bow here at the bottom. Not sure if you can see this or not. Let me see what I can do. But there's a big bow. Then I added a little purple flower down here. Then there's some lace that runs along the edge. This is a vellum pocket, or tracing paper. I use tracing paper. It does the same thing, but it is cheaper. Then I added this lavender and white trim, you know, for more stability up here at the top. Added this tag. Put a little piece of wedding dress applique on it. And you're able to still see this lady in her beautiful gown, you know, through this vellum pocket. And then I added this trim up here along the top and down the sides. Added some flowers with, some of them have pearls in them, some of them don't. And then here's this purple gingham bow that I made. Then here I just added half of a applique. And I think it looks beautiful. This particular page here, I had to tie it to get it into the book. So actually it goes clear. Well, I don't know what pages. Oh, just these two right here. Throughout this book, I had 3 pages that I ended up having to tie in because I couldn't find where I could glue it in and hinge it and like that. So I just tied it in. The rest of them are glued in, and have the fabric hinges for stability. And I thought it turned out pretty decent. So I had no idea what I was doing, but it turned out. That was the main thing. And then I had this small page left, and so I just collaged on it. A pocket I made, added some trim, added this tag there, and then I just glued 3 sides and left the pocket on the right side here and made a tag for it. Then I also added the corners, which are metal, but I put some distressing on it to kind of dull it down a little bit. So, antiqued it up. And then here I made this pocket here, added a butterfly and this pretty trim and this little bow, and added this little girl into that pocket. And you'll see throughout this book, a lot of these tags and pockets, I roughed up the edges all the way around and then used my distress ink. I just think that just gives it more of an antique look. So it's just rough. I just take my fingernail on these and roughed it up, and I think they look cool. And then over here is another one of those pockets. I glued down a butterfly here. I took this off of an old vintage clip-on earring and added it on the butterfly. Added some vintage trim there. Made this tag for it. And this is off an old vintage slip, half slip. And I just kind of crinkled it up and put it in the corner along with this heart. Then I added a flower here. And then I added some stickles onto her earring, hoping it would, to sparkle, and so it would show up. I think you could see it. And then again, I just glued on 3 sides and left a side pocket to add her in. And then up here at the top, there's a butterfly that's got some glitter on it. And then I just scrunched up some lace there in the upper right corner. And here I have a envelope. I seen this on YouTube. I believe it was G. Kerr that did the video, and I just thought it was very clever. And I stenciled on the outside of this envelope. I did line it with the digital here. And I made this little cluster here and a little cluster. There's a flower back here. There's a faux envelope with a little piece of lace. And I just added a little tag inside that envelope with a flower. And again, I just glued it on the 3 sides here and left a pocket back behind the envelope, to add another tag. So you have a lot of tags and journaling places, throughout this journal. And here's a couple of more little tags that I made to go inside the envelope. They've got a perfume bottle, and then this one is a perfume bottle and a stiletto. I think that's what they're called, the stiletto shoe. And over here, this is an envelope that has a silver wax seal on it in the digital. So I just made my wax seal, poured my wax seal in lavender on top of it. Then I made a slit in the top of the envelope so I could make another tag and put it inside the envelope, which I did make another pocket on the back of it to hold another small tag. And then it just slides right down here, just like so. Some pretty paper. Over here, there's a couple of flowers. I added this beautiful trim and cut up an applique to kind of outline this frame. I kind of wanted it to look like a frame with this pretty little girl inside. So I made it look 3D, added the pearls, and then I added some a cheesecloth around it with some pearls in it also. And then here I added a couple of flips. Got one at the top and one at the bottom. This one has an applique on it. You open them up, journal here. You can journal all over on this. But this is a card that what I did, I don't know why I came up with this, but you'll see on this that there was a butterfly here and a butterfly down here, and then she has this beautiful hairpiece in her hair. So I printed this out again, and I cut out these 3 objects and just glued them to this netting into the same place that they were at on the photo. And I thought it was kind of cool. But I added this Eiffel Tower down here at the bottom, hoping it would be heavy enough to make it lay down a little bit better, which it doesn't. You know, it's going to move, but that's okay. I just thought it was kind of cute. So close those back up. Another little half page. This is a flower that I made that you just singe the edges with, and I added some lace in between the petals. Then here is a page. This is where I added a silver applique or trim down here at the bottom, and it just goes perfect. It's just beautiful. Just love it. I hope you can see that. Then I printed this picture out again, and so I could cut this out and put it on top of the other one to make a pocket. So this one's got a couple of tags in it. This one's got an envelope with a little tag in it, and then some applique that I cut up, put there, and a clear gingham bow. And this one I cut out a flower out of an applique and added it to that. Then I added a piece of trim here. This here is a butterfly that I made, and I put some resin on it and poured some glitter in the resin, and then I added these pink little stones here, and I thought it turned out rather pretty. It's just real glittery and shiny. And I add the resin because, you know, these butterflies are on thin paper, and I just didn't want it to get tore up or anything. So I resin the little things that I do add in to the books. And then I cut out these flowers and kind of rolled them out a little bit. I took my bone folder and kind of went like that to kind of make them a little more poofy, and then put some lifts underneath there to give it the 3D look. And then on this side, for this pocket, I made this paper clip, or I just put some lace in it to kind of foo-foo it up a little bit to hold this tag in, because it just falls right out. But I cut out this, it looks like a blanket of some sort or a shawl out of the digital, and I just placed it on top of the other one and give it kind of a 3D effect. And here's the tag that goes in it. And you can journal on the back. It's got the velvet ribbon up here and the pink flower. And then on the next page, it's just a page that looks very pretty. Same with this one. You know, a lot of these pages are just so beautiful, plain, that you don't have to do anything to them. Here, I just added a belly band and put this tag into the belly band. And again, I put the resin on the butterfly, and I used stickles on the butterfly's body so it'd sparkle. Just tucked it in there. And then here I made a flip. Added this real pretty trim. I just thought it matched so well with this. And I coffee dyed the back. And I added lace up here at the top. Another butterfly up here. And this is some vellum or tracing paper. Lift it up and you see this beautiful lady. I just oohed and awed over her. She's just so serene. And she has, you know, some fibers and like that in her hair. So I just added some more to it and used this vintage trim here to add a bow. And that was it. So, pretty, pretty. Then over here is another envelope, like what I made, you know, back earlier into the journal. I added a lace pocket in one of my flowers that I made. And when I added the envelope, it just was falling all over the place. So I just glued it down inside the pocket. And, you know, I added a couple of tags in it. And I stenciled on the back. And then again, I just glued around the 3 edges so it would have another tuck spot or another tag back behind it. And then the last page here, I just added, this is just a bunch of collaging. I added this girl with her fan, this feather, this ink pen. I just kind of tucked behind the little girl. I added a paper doily. You can see where I taped it to this paper here to print on the doily. And then I couldn't use it where I was wanting to. So I just folded it up and made a little pocket and tucked it back behind the collage of this little girl and made a little pocket. So there is another tag. And then I did a wax seal of the lavender again. And I also added a little applique off a wedding dress. And then this trim down here, I added this lace. Made this bow, and I added 2 strands of pearls through the top here. And then I added this lace down underneath to kind of make it a little bit fuller. That's it. So she's very big. I know that it's varied width as you've seen, but the tallest is 11 inches. It's like 8.5 by 11, and then the varied widths and lengths are throughout the book. So I hope you like it. I do have it for sale, and I will put everything in the description box, the price and how to contact me if you're interested. And I'll put the lady, the crazy, it's crazy watercolor. Etsy is where I got the digitals from, and you can just run over there and check her out for yourself. It's just so many to choose from. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and be safe and stay warm. Thank you.